Hi, it's Paul K here. Let's take a look at the cycle of depression. We start at the top of the diagram. We see that one or more innate needs is not met. This is the starting point of the cycle of depression. When the needs are not met, and these are needs, everyday needs, all humans basically have to function properly. It those needs to be loved, cherished, needed, valued, the need for security, feeling part of a wider community, friendship and intimacy, and privacy. When any of these needs are not met, then the person begins to worry. Now, this then leads as we move on down the circle in a clockwise direction. They get what we call emotional arousal. And emotional arousal automatically forces the brain into all or nothing thinking, catastrophic thinking. Everything's black and white, and there's no grey areas. And it reduces the ability of the brain to think in more subtle and objective ways. So, after a setback, someone with a essentially pessimistic outlook will inevitably catastrophize their interpretation of life events. Okay, so as we move down, we see that there are certain patterns of expectation we have, this emotional arousal, which if it's not diffused or completed during waking hours, they're translated into dreams, and this is really the purpose of why we dream. It's to diffuse that's not taken care of during the daytime. So if you have a big argument or somebody at work, maybe a boss or something like that, undermines you and you've not got the opportunity to unleash that emotional arousal, then you do so at night time when you're asleep. And that's why we dream, because otherwise it becomes a big problem for us. And one of the reasons people with depression dream much more than those without depression is because the depressed person usually thinks more and more in negative terms. They see a lot of negativity, and this needs to be released during dream time. They are then subject to intense and prolonged dreaming every night, which disturbs the sleep balance. The first part of our sleep is usually taken up with slow wave sleep, and this is deep sleep, and this is when the body repairs itself, when the brain's replenished, when the body goes about repairing damage to the tissues. And then we go into a dream state, the REM state, where we dream. But this is almost like still being awake, and it uses up an awful lot of energy. And the more you dream in this state, the longer you're in this state, then the more energy you're using. And sometimes a lot of people wake up in the middle of the night to stop this, but then they go back to sleep again, and they wake up really tired and they're exhausted. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of depressed people and anxious people wake up in the morning and they feel really, really tired and exhausted, as if they haven't had any sleep at all. They have. They've just been spent way too long in the dream state, and it's a lot of motivational energy that gets used up. And so they find in the morning that it's really hard for them to get going, to motivate themselves. This in turn, of course, will then give them more to worry about. And then thus the cycle is then complete because they've got more to worry about, more the needs are not being met, and the cycle starts again, and it keeps going on and on. It's like a wheel keeps turning, a never-ending circle. Somewhere in that circle, in that cycle of depression, you have got to make an intervention, and you've got to break that cycle. And that's what we will do. When you come for therapy, we will break that cycle. And the first thing that we're going to do is get you to relax, and get you to relax very deeply, much more deep than you've probably ever been relaxed before. And just by that deep relaxation, we can give the brain a break from that cycle and allow it time to relax and allow it time to heal. And by doing that, you'll find that you're able to think more clearly, become more rational, and you have a bit more objectivity in your thinking. And then we can do some more therapeutic work to remove whatever that is causing that anxiety, or what's causing that depression. So that's just a quick look at the cycle of depression, but it's very important to understand that cycle of depression. And once we make an intervention and we break that cycle, break that circle, then you start seeing improvements. So the message here is, no matter how you're feeling at the moment, there is hope, and you just need to make sure that you see somebody and get that cycle started, and we get that cycle broken so that healing can take place.